Hi, I'm Noah Andreessen with Great Lakes Grain. We just finished up the 2021 Great Lakes Grain Crop Assessment Tour, and I'd like to introduce Petra Hathaway, Dale Callan, Don Cabas, Devin Homick, and Marcia Wakabayashi. Don, why exactly do we have the crop tour every single year?
Noah, hey, thanks. The crop tour is very, very important for farmers to go and see what their crop looks like, how far along are they in their marketing, what space capacities will they need for harvest. For us in the grain industry is how big is this crop, how much space we need to put this crop away. As we look at markets and marketing, what other opportunities exist for whether it be basis appreciation and those kind of things inside the trade. And it really helps us understand how big the crop is. Plus, we can go off to our end users and talk to them about how large this crop is or how small it is and some of those opportunities that exist between us. And the whole piece is to try and put a few more pennies in the farmers' pockets along the way.
Absolutely, Don. Now, I like to start in the East and talk about what each and every one of us has seen out there while we've been out there crop touring. Petra, you spent a few days way up in Embrun. Can you tell me a little bit about what you saw in the Embrun area?
Yeah, thank you, Noah. So it was great starting to the season back in May. All the Embrun area crops and the counties up there got planted in good time, which is non-characteristic to what happened in the last couple of years there. So lots of excited farmers and members in that area. Unfortunately, there was then a drought that set in. So while the crop was trying to emerge, it had some limitations with that. So back in June, when the rain started to come back, there was some emergence problems. But literally, Noah, when I was up there, everything looked great. We were in multiple cornfields across different counties. The crop is at least 50% dented, if not further along. So we're looking for setting up for a great harvest there. Beans, on the other hand, Noah, they look great in some areas, but other areas had some white mold problems throughout the fields. I would say, it wasn't widespread, but definitely some problem spots to look out for. We're definitely setting up for an average or slightly below average crop in Embrun for soybeans. Thanks a lot, Noah.
No problem. Thank you, Petra. It's really interesting to hear about different areas. Now, Devin, you're in kind of the northern part of southwestern Ontario on kind of the top half of the tail. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've seen?
Yeah, thanks, Noah. So I was on the eastern half of Lake Erie all the way up to Georgian Bay, in fields across those counties. Probably one of the best corn crops I think I've ever seen on the 12 years of doing the tour. Quality was really good. The only thing we kind of saw that was maybe some concern again is Western bean cutworm. We saw those lots of years on the tour, especially as we get into some of our sandy soils in the geography. But we did see them in every county I was in. I did see some pressure from Western bean cutworm, but a lot of guys did manage for it this year, so it was limited. When I take a look at the soybeans, Petra talked about in the eastern part of Ontario, the white mold. So we did see that kind of sporadic throughout a bunch of our counties, but overall, really excited for this crop. I think farmers will be really happy when they get the combines out in the field, and look forward to seeing what we see as we get into harvest of 2021.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Devin. And it's interesting that you note that. I saw Western bean cutworm as far as beaten, whereas most of the farmers have never seen it there before, and how it's worked its way up throughout the province. Dale, you cover the bottom half of the tail in Ontario. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've been seeing?
Well, thanks, Noel. Yeah, certainly in the deep Southwest, pretty strong corn crop and bean crop. We are seeing pretty good plant stands. The corn crop this year were higher yields than last year on the virtue of higher plant stands, populations, girthier cobs, and longer rows of kernels. So that all adds up to an increased yield. And even on the soybean crop, surprisingly, we found the same pod count this year as we did last year. So you can't deny a pretty strong yield coming on soybeans. We did see a couple new wrinkles on corn. We do have a new fungal pathogen, tar spot. It showed up late last year. It is running pretty rampant through some cornfields. We've got a couple cornfields that are pretty devastated already. It looks like the end of October, not the end of August. So it has taken the foliage out of the corn plant pretty quickly. So the research underway right now to understand the disease and which fungicides work and what strategy for fungicide applications will be required. So that's ongoing. So most fields we saw some tar spot in, so definitely going to be a disease that we are going to have to manage going forward. Looking at the soybean crop, pretty strong plant stands. I was surprised that the final counts were higher than I've ever seen in the past. It's not unusual to lose 50,000 seeds per acre from seeding to final on drilled beans, and we were seeing some pretty high counts there, which added to the pod count, of course. Lots of late season foliar diseases coming in, a lot of Septoria brown spot, which is unusual since it usually stays in the bottom of the canopy, some Cercospora, certainly white mold that's always shows up in the same fields every year was present. So sudden death syndrome, very obvious in places too. So we're not without our issues in the soybean crop, but all said and done, good pod count, beans slightly on the smaller size, but a lot of them. So, and just to finish up on the final tar spot is one of the things we have to manage is our volunteer corn in soybeans, because that volunteer corn is loaded with tar spot too. And that's just going to be inoculant for next year's corn crop. So this disease and the fungal pathogens will require us to manage at a much higher degree than we have in the past. So all in all, good crops, lots of opportunities to keep improving.
Thanks a lot, Dale. Those are all great points. And before I pass it off to Don here, I'd like to thank our sponsor, DeKalb. They've been with us every year along for the tour and help continue to help us push and get better yield estimates. Don, could you summarize the tour for us?
I think the tour, Noah, is once again, it was a great success. It was our 12th tour. Been doing this since 2010, coming out with a yield of 194 on corn and 53 on soybeans is some really big numbers. And it's just we continue to improve our production in Ontario, and we continue to add yield with all of the different things that we're doing. So I think it's a great testament to our growers and our farmers and our agronomists, how we're trying to continue to push that envelope. And it's just a great opportunity to go look at those yields, and how does that roll into your marketing, and what's your next play. So our staff will have the individual yield results back to our farmers here in the next little bit, so that data is available, and it's a good conversation piece to talk about what we did find back with our farmers. So we're looking forward to doing that. So thanks to all of our farmers and staff and participants that have helped us out in this tour again this year. It's been a great success. Thanks.
Awesome, Don. Now, I myself scouted probably a little over 100 fields. Do you know how many fields exactly we scouted this year?
We got to 517 on corn and 398 on soybeans. So just a couple of fields less than last year. So just a really good cross section.
All right. And any big plans for the next crop tour, Don?
Our plan will continue to evolve from them. We springboard off of each one like we have this year. And we'll do a very similar tour again next year. We utilized this year a little bit of technology. You might have seen some of that in our previous editing and some of our other releases. But we continue to use technology to monitor the crop. What other pieces can we use inside of that technology to really look into this crop and see how good it is. So those will be the things we follow up on next year, Noah.
Thanks a lot, Don. And before we wrap it up here, I'd like to thank all of our internal employees, working hard, getting out there. It was pretty hot this year. We're happy you all stayed hydrated, stayed healthy, and continued to scout fields for us. There's a lot going on out there. And we like to thank our farmers for letting us go out there and scouting their fields for them. And we try to bring as much value to them as it does to us this tour. So we really got to say thanks to them. And Marsha's been our technical superstar out there taking videos and taking pictures of us and sharing it around for us. So I'd like to thank Marsha for helping us run smoothly. And any final comments from anybody?
Just thanks to everybody.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. And I hope we have a good harvest here as it's coming up ahead.